lot closer, you might be able to get some 3D information that way. Maybe not quite the same precision you're looking for as LiDAR, but they're more like a CCD.
Then, someone mentioned like data processing earlier, but with like LiDAR and, a lot of these high-resolution geospatial formats, like processing can be a major, time-consuming thing.
We're still doing Haiti.
Really?
It was collected in January 21st to the 28th.
That's interesting. So, then it becomes more of a, algorithmic issue of, all right, can we real-time crunch the raw data?
If you've got funds for it, you can do the cloud thing, Amazon and Microsoft's cloud, and you just have to architecture your CS your application to do it, to be able to scale that way, because they got such immense capacity. It's just way beyond imagination. Server farms that just go on to the horizon.
The problem seems not to be the actual how many flops are available, so much as it's a black. LiDAR seems to still be a black art. I mean, there is a lot of data that is just, people look at it and go, they're just having to manually clean up some parts of the data. And there's a lot of it. And it's not anything that's ever, nothing is, I don't know of people who have done it on that scale before, because they collected basically half of the southern peninsula of Haiti and all of Port-au-Prince, and all the buildings are all down.
Actually, they mentioned for Navtec, their new true cars that they're sending out are mounted with LiDAR in the cars. So it's not flying over, but it's traversing the streets, which may be a problem after an earthquake. But that's one method that they're trying to get the information at least before an event.
But what seemed with Haiti, what did you think was the biggest problem in terms of, I know a lot of things were very successful in terms of the disaster response, but was there anything that stuck out to you or anybody else in terms of, the issue that needs the most focus or something?
Rebuilding.
Well, yeah, there's that, but that's a different challenge. In terms of geospatial, if I'm just going to limit it on that, and I'll leave the crowdsourcing or other things off, collection ceased after the 30th or 31st of January. And right now, the biggest problem that we're having is the growth of the internally displaced persons counts, and their change over time. We're not taking pictures of it.
Actually, we probably are. It's just we can't afford to look at the data.
Right, but people are dying because the data is not available.
No, it's true. Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing where we need data. And some of it is also would be great to have aerial.
Why is that not happening? What is that? Just money? That's just.
Yeah, the satellite imagery providers were incredible in the first days after the disaster. Just unprecedented cooperation. The licensing terms were, basically it was just attribution only, which is about as open as we could possibly have asked for. I would ask for public domain, but that's not going to happen. The time afterwards, there comes a point where the satellite imaging providers couldn't run a business. They're not in the business of giving data away.
That was the response to exactly what it was. What, we're supposed to give you free imagery forever?
What about like Landsat? Isn't there also a lot of government satellites where they don't have to deal with this issue of commercial governmental, overlap?
It would be great if the government would start releasing this, and I think there may be some momentum building around that, but right now satellites are not oriented, or the imagery release process is not oriented to do that.
Shouldn't we have a CubeSat and what are those mini ones that do it yourself, DIY sets?
Well, we could also launch a styrofoam cooler with a camera in it, as the MIT students did, but I don't know if that's going to be a viable solution in the near term for a small, or for a non-entity like the open source community, which doesn't have a 501c3 over it as an umbrella, to launch and maintain and operate a satellite.
What's the price on the CubeSat? Because I thought that was fairly low.
The CubeSat
yeah.
is...
I know they did Jane did a contest on what you could do with it it. I mean, I haven't thought about it since, but I don't know. It seems, anyway, back to the problem, you've got categories, haven't you, for this prize? You want, like, you've got to set up categories, because from what your first description is, that to me is a grand technology prize, right? And that's probably what they want, really, isn't it?
Pretty much something along those lines.
But I think it'd be nice to push them into categories so that they had more things like this, because I think the lesson is that those things in and of themselves are, I mean, you stand the potential there that you're not building the relationships that allow you to use it. Now, Haiti worked out that was fairly nearby. The relationships were good enough that the people who had the things that could help out were being allowed in and all of that. But, you know, just having fantastic imagery, right, disposing the human relationships aren't good enough in that area to get in there. I mean, this is why I push the prize anyway, that it's not just technology, because technology can just end up being junk, right? I mean,
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, if we look at I know I'm at like a geo conference, but look at the value of having a map in a community's sense of place and understanding how to behave in a crisis. It'd be much more valuable to have that than to have any resolution of information.
Yeah.
The information is for the relief, and it's a top-down approach, even though you could communicate to people, of course. But having a community that has the capacity to withstand and rebuild is much more valuable, I think, overall.
And much more resilient.
I'm curious on that point as far as Haitian government is concerned, because it's something I know a little about. I was trying to bring this up in the other presentation on the same issue. I mean, I know much more about New Orleans because of Katrina, but in Haiti, you know, is there a ministry of, you know, data, of mapping, or people that
There
would
is.
gather this?
Most
so
of
that
it was
you can
killed.
work with? Okay.
Well, not most, but out of 40 people, 6 died.
They have,
And, I mean, I know someone down there helping them.
And they have computers? I mean, they're storing this information themselves, or they gather
So
it?
the person I know is acting sort of as a data librarian to go between the various groups that have data and try to collect it. Because you have a lot of the NGOs acting right now, and they have their data and
Yeah, see,
helping share.
as someone from outside this, because again, I don't know much about Haiti, that seems to be the problem, is that there's all these outside groups that are coming in and imposing their own terms on it. It has to be something that someone who's there and who's from there has some sort of management stake in, because otherwise, you know, again, that was a failure, at least in New Orleans, is that there's no one in New Orleans who's doing anything with all this information that came from all these really smart people.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that is, and listening to your point about like trying to get information about like the structural capacity of buildings, I think, you know, it gets a lot more top level about basically the political culture and the transparency that they want to allow, you know, sort of, you know, not only with governance, but also the businesses. Like I could see real estate guys actually hating your idea, right? Yeah. You know, because they're you know, their modus operandi is like, we want that valuation of that building to be as high
Actually, I
as
thought that
possible.
might be a source for data mining,
Yeah.
going to all the real estate sites and looking
Another
at.
thing is that the exposed vulnerabilities, then it creates concerns about terrorism. If you have a map of all the chemical substations or whatever they are in San Francisco.
there's a lot of things to it. But in principle, it sounds from what you're saying that there's going to be push to make it a grand technology prize. So we've got to be realistic. Like, we're not going to like move that out. What we have to do is try and think of an idea that packages the grand technology into a community level project as well. I mean, because it sounds like that's what they want to do, is something like this super high, you know, having the best data in the best possible way. But somehow we've got to package that so that wrap that up so that it is grounded in like community relationships and
And I think we're going to need to continue that conversation over beer, because we're over time.
Exactly.